My name is Caius Marcius Coriolanus.
Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno, where Ralph Fiennes gives an explosive directorial debut for his new film, Coriolanus.
If ever again I meet him, he's mine, or I am his.
The delivery of the dialogue is given in a very contemporary fashion, and I wondered whether that was intentional from the beginning or whether that came organically.
Well, no, I think it was intentional. That one of the challenges is that it's dialogue written for theatre. Although I have to say the best performances I've seen in the theatre have been with actors like, for instance, Michael Bryant, who used to play at the National, always had the most simplistic, naturalistic delivery, and suddenly it was as if it was his natural language. So that was that. But I think that I wanted to be as naturalistic as possible. Except there are places, I think, where it's sort of explosive and heightened. But I think generally, like scenes with Brian and the Tribunes, Jimmy Nesbitt, these are scenes with cups of coffee in a cafe, and it should have exactly a completely real rhythm. And I think that the thing is, though, that it still has to be very specific, otherwise. So actually the skill was it appears completely naturalistic, but the actor's skill is that it's so specific, so you can actually, the phrasing is accessible. But always, no, the intention was keep it simple, just, avoid it going into something sort of pronounced.
The actors as well retained their natural dialects as well, didn't they?
Mm. Yeah, well, I think that was like a obvious choice that you didn't want. I mean, I think someone like Jerry Butler, I wanted him to come from his own spirit, I think a voice is, someone's own dialect is part of who they are, and I think that's important not to, in this case, not to mess with it, and also to have a world of different, like our world today, is different dialects, different backgrounds. That was deliberate.
Thank you very much. Did you ever think in your career you would be delivering blank verse in a Shakespeare film?
Never. I was hopeless at Shakespeare at school, and I should think I'm a pretty hopeless actor. I haven't actually seen it yet, so...
You deliver very well.
Do I? Well, that's him then, that's Ralph. He fixed it. He must have fixed it in post-production. Probably paint box on one of these things,
How was he as a director?
Fantastic. I mean, he is genuinely motivational. You go in the morning thinking, well, he only wants me to do what I normally do, and then you end up doing what he wants you to do. He's really good.
Heaven's blessing, Lord and husband.
You are a favor to the people.
How do you begin to make a script, a screenplay of this play?
Well, you take a deep breath and you dive right in. It required boldness. I never would have done it without Ralph at my side saying, "It's okay, mate, we can do this,
How did the collaboration work between the pair of you?
It was very close. We would work over the entire text for days on end, and I had the great joy of seeing Ralph perform most of the play for me, because we'd be working on a scene and he can't help himself. He has to leap up and start sort of acting. So I would watch him perform huge chunks of the text, and then it was the careful process of pruning and shaping to what we wanted this movie to be. And this is a very particular take on Shakespeare and on Coriolanus.
I mean, what you've delivered with this film is such an incredibly powerful film, isn't it? Obviously, that's what you'd want from the audience.
Yeah, it is. It's a punch. This movie. It's not a caress. It's not a whisper. It's not an aria. It's a punch, and that's what Shakespeare wrote. That's the play he wrote, and all we wanted to do was to capture that feeling on screen in our medium.
I will fight against my country.
And then men die.
A rare opportunity that you get a script this powerful.
Well, the initial writer happens to be quite talented, so that helps. And I think John Logan's version of it is an amazing version. In fact, what he and Ralph put together, it really distilled the play, and the essence of the play is very powerful. And it is a film. Really is a film, and that's what makes it very exciting to work on.
And you give such an effortless performance. What's your? This is wonderful. And I just wondered what your secret was in portraying it, please.
Well, actually, I was inspired by Vanessa, because when we rehearsed, I was thinking, how are we going to do this? And I wanted to do it. I wanted to just be effortless. But you need to feel the inspiration from somebody else. And Vanessa, because she has this wonderful idiosyncratic thing with language, she kind of opened the gates for me, and I thought, that's how I can do it. That's how I can play it. And I really was incredibly grateful. I mean, I kind of was going to go that way anyway, but she kind of just, she was the final, she was the hook, really.
You are not my son.
I wanted to ask you, was directing the film the vehicle to allow you to portray Coriolanus in a way that you wanted to portray him?
Yeah, absolutely. No one, I mean, I was lucky in the way this was put together that I had no one corporation or company controlling it or creatively or trying to influence me creatively. No, I think Coriolanus should divide audiences in their loyalties, and I love it when people say that they hate him 1 minute and then they suddenly find themselves rooting for him. He's full of, and it's the ambivalence in him and in the story that I think is why I wanted to make it, because it doesn't have I think it diminishes it if you give it a political spin. I think it's about political and social dysfunction that we're continually, as one nail drives out one nail, one fire, one fire. There's a sort of endless circular transition of power that goes on forever and ever and ever. And that sort of revolution spins round the central tragedy, which is Coriolanus.
Coriolanus has grown from man to dragon.
Make you a sword of me!
As Ralph Fiennes says goodbye as he makes his way down the red carpet, we must too say goodnight for this evening. I'm Claire Bueno, and you're watching Premier Scene.
Sweet as my revenge.